do you guys find that balance between celebrating having that win and then moving on to trying to extend the series another game?
Yeah, I think you feel good about the result, and you quickly begin to try to understand what you did in order to achieve that outcome, and let that be your focus. And try to, from our standpoint as a coaching staff, to try to draw that out and help the guys understand and absorb that.
Just in terms of DeAndre defending Tatum for a majority of the series, it felt like it took a couple games to get into it, but what have you thought about his defense, especially the last few, and holding him 1 for 10 from in Game 5?
Well, honestly, my guess is he won't be 1 for 10 tonight. He's too good a player, and everybody has, everybody has different nights shooting. We had a good one the other night. That's not to diminish the job that DeAndre's done. I think as much as anything, to take a matchup like that, the best thing you can do is to make it hard. And his ability, we need to contain the ball as a team, and he's a guy for us that he's the best guy we have at doing that. With his size, I think with his focus, they run you off a lot of screens. He's playing pick and roll, they're posting, he's guarding the screener, he's defending a ball handler. There's just so many ways that Tatum is able to score and exploit your defense. It puts a lot of pressure on DeAndre, and I think everybody on our team has to be aware of that, so that we can give him appropriate help when we need to.
Quin, towards the end of the fourth, there was a stretch where there's a double-digit lead, and then the tide turned with your defense, and you guys were able to kind of cut and change the momentum. Was there something in particular that you said to the guys that you thought led to that?
I think over the course of the game, particularly on the road against a team that is as good as they are, you just have to hang in, and continue to compete, and understand that there's going to be runs, and kind of believe that you're going to go on a run, and sometimes that might happen early, sometimes late, sometimes it's a couple smaller ones. Usually it's fueled by your defense, or making some shots, and we had both at a time that we really needed that. Credit to our guys for staying focused through that, because I think a lot of it, it's how you handle their runs as much as anything, to keep them from being 10-point runs. It's an 8-point run or a 6-point run, and then just trust in each other, and not get away from the things that you feel even at the beginning of the game, before the game, they're going to give you success, and at the same time kind of feel the game and understand what you need to do at a given time.
Quin, late in the game when you guys were turning things around, Joe kept an extra timeout in his pocket. That's kind of been his philosophy a lot of the time, is to kind of let it ride. What goes into, especially in the postseason, of deciding in those quick moments where the whole thing can turn around, whether or not to call timeout and try to something to assess?
That's a tough one. It's like we hear a lot about adjusting. Those are always, when you, as a coach, when you look back on the game, those situations can go a lot of different ways. And, every coach, every team, feels the game, and every situation's different. On the road, it's tough. It's tough. And I know for us, myself, every game's different, and you're feeling the game, trying to make decisions, and you never know whether they're right or wrong. Sometimes even they seem right. win by 6 and everybody says great job, and maybe you win by 12. You just don't know. It's hard to evaluate those things, and I think for all of us as coaches, we're probably as hard on ourselves. Different situations, whether you take them or don't take them. I've said before, Joe's done such a good job with his team. He trusts his team, obviously. We trust our team too, and like I said, every game's different. It's hard to speculate on any of that, particularly from afar. I'm trying to figure it out ourselves.
Any other questions? I'm sorry, I had one more. During certain parts of the game, you saw where Sadiq, Onyeka, or JC was crashing offensive glass, and it seemed like they had smaller guards on them. Was it a more focused effort to tell those guys if they've got small guys to make sure they go to the offensive glass?
I think that's something that those guys have embraced. You mentioned 3 guys. I'll throw Quin in there too. Part of the playoffs, and they've all done a great job with this. Boston goes big at times. Sometimes they, play smaller with, Al at the 5 and Tatum, Brown. Even when they're small, they're big. So our guys have, really given me the flexibility of just being ready, and with various lineups and who plays, who doesn't, finish the game, and that's not something that we've traditionally done. But I told John at one point, you're going in, it might be a quick one, and the way the game turned, and he was in a rhythm, and obviously, he's a heck of a player, and I have a lot of trust in him. So, like I said, every game's different, and you just try to do the best you can as a coach, and know that, as I said, it's you reflect on all that stuff and hope it works out. But those guys have been great, and John in particular. One of the biggest things from him was just continue to shoot the ball, and he had some big shots for us the other night.
Coach, following Game 5, a lot of the basketball world were kind of counting you guys out. Speaking to you after the game, speaking with Trae Young after the game, the mindset seemed to be that you were going to go to Boston and pick up a win. Now that you've done that, could you speak to me about the energy in the locker room and the confidence in your coaching staff and the confidence you've seen in your players over the last few days?
I hope those things don't fluctuate a whole lot game to game, and part of that is, elimination game. We're in an elimination game because we got down 3-1. So I think the biggest thing is for us just to kind of look inward on that. We know what an important game it is, and like the other night, and so was Game 1, and so was Game 3, and you have to bring the same focus regardless of the score. Kind of use that as an example and just keep grinding. Obviously, we expect another tough one tonight.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.